Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm going to do our February the 18th Spiritual Principle Day in a meditation. Let's go ahead and get into that meditation. The title of today's meditation, Making Room for Humility. Understanding that we are not unique is a good indication of humility. That comes from It Works, Step 7. The disease of addiction turns us into masters of self-deception. A distorted view of the world might convince us that we're smarter than the average addict. When we're new to Narcotics Anonymous, this outlook can keep us separate from everyone in the room and lead us right back out the door. The pain of stubbornly holding on to our perceived uniqueness can keep us stuck in isolation. As one member found, eventually the pain was great enough, and it didn't matter how different I thought I was from everyone else. I was an addict, and if I didn't want to die, I had to start doing some work. Step 7 shows us that in surrendering the defect of denial, we can let go of arrogance and pride, creating room for humility and identification within the fellowship. We can see our humility grow when we can sit in a meeting and naturally, hear the similarities rather than our differences. When we trust a loving higher power to remove our shortcomings, we begin to make space for our true selves and develop a sense of our place within and in a community. Regardless of how long we have been clean, how old we were when we got here, or our career status, we remain teachable. The gift of humility allows us to learn how to ask for help and take suggestions. Sometimes, even with years clean, we convince ourselves that our case is different or we are the exception. Calling our sponsors, regularly attending meetings, and continuing to practice spiritual principles reminds us that we share the bond of addiction, as well as a common solution in NA. Whether we think we are nowhere near that bad or the most flawed person in the room, we eventually find a place where we can be right-sized by continuing to work the steps. Today, I will be grateful for freedom from the sharp edges of my uniqueness and find opportunities to identify with my fellow addicts. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. You know, I was speaking about this in the Just for Today meditation a little bit about having a partnership with the atmosphere recovery and being able to see the similarities, which made room for me to be right-sized. This partnership that I committed to allowed me the opportunity to be human and not have to be perfect all the time. And most certainly, even though I was striving for perfection, it's common sense that I didn't reach it. I made mistakes all the time. It was my reactions to the mistakes. And so coming in to a place where this character defect of pride, right, and arrogance oftentimes, and I want to add fear in there, coming to a place where these character defects are able to be removed. I'm entirely ready at this point for them to be gone, right? I'm entirely ready, and I'm humbly asking in step 7, because that's what we're talking about. I'm humbly asking the God of my understanding to remove them. That's a sweet place to be in recovery, guys. Don't know if you know it or not, but it is. The weight of having to perfect being perfect is now removed from me, right? Because I'm asking and I'm discerning that I can't do it on my own. I don't want to continue to have this air about myself that really tears me down more than anyone else. I'm in a position to ask the God of my understanding, can you please remove this from me? Whatever you have to do. I don't want to walk around life with this bondage, this weight on me that I have to be perfect in every situation. I have to be unique. I have to be better than everyone else in the room all the time. I don't want that responsibility, and it does talk about how we can go from one extreme to the other. Like we're the best person in the room to we're the absolute worst. And there's a true place we belong that is somewhere in between. But even in acknowledging that there is a true spot, a place where we belong, it's not in comparison to anyone else. It's within. It's a spiritual place of balance. I want to make that clear, because attaining this balance doesn't further propagate this ideal that others are better or worse than myself. That defeats the purpose. It's a spiritual place that we find within ourselves that says to myself, Mighty Stream, you're enough today. You are enough today, just the way you are. I double dog dare you to get to a mirror and say that to yourself. Go ahead. You are enough today, just the way you are. And continue to say that to yourself on a regular basis. When you start to feel yourself sliding into worthlessness, I want you to say that out loud. You are enough today, just the way you are. And continue to do that. That level of one's self-awareness, knowing that you need to hear these positive words that are true, right? That are true. And that you're able to actually speak them out with your own mouth. So now this audible activity, right? This audible activity is something that your brain can register because you're saying it and you're hearing it. And continue to do that anytime you feel yourself sliding either direction, right? Into overperformance and into worthlessness. Recenter yourself, right? Recenter yourself here. Because the more that you do that, there's like this track that gets built into your brain. And the more that you continue to center yourself with that positive statement, you will naturally start to gravitate towards it. I can't explain it. I believe it's deeply spiritual. That's why I think the negative talk we're used to is very damaging. And that piety that we have sometimes is also just as damaging. But if you can find that balance and speak the truth about you being enough today, I believe that your actions will begin to line up with that. There's something to be said about humility. You ever been around someone that has very low self-confidence? And it saddens me because I'm listening to someone express how worthless they are. And I can look at a file and see, I don't even have to look at a file. I can see clearly and hear clearly that they have many gifts, very positive things about themselves. But because they have this one little faulted area, they are not able to see all the beauty that they have within. And so that sense of less than is not humility. It's not. It's self-obsession in a negative way. It's not humility. No, that's not humility. That's not being humble or modest, right? Because we're talking about a true assessment of oneself. And so when we lean all the way into that low self-esteem and woe is me, that's not humility. Let's not confuse it with the true spiritual principle of humility. We're talking about being able to authentically right size ourselves. I want to almost say on demand. Yeah. Right. Being able to do it so that it's innate, it's not forced. That's something that we strive for. The gift of humility allows us to learn how to ask for help and take suggestions. You could have been here for a very little time, or you could have been here for a very long time. In either case, this meditation is encouraging us to be able to reach out to others when we need help, to ask for the help that we need. And I've said it before. A closed mouth does not get fed. Hopefully, someone passes by and realizes that this individual is hungry. Let me help them. But that is not generally the case. Most people are so self-consumed with their own day-to-day issues that noticing what another human being needs is not something that just happens all the time. Oh, we do it occasionally, but it's not like we go out looking for those people that are in need today. We rely on them being able to at least reach out to us and say, I could use some support in this. I did that the other day. There was just so much going on the other day. And I reached out to a group of women that I met in Chicago that listened to this podcast. That's how they recognized me. I reached out to a group of them and I said, I could use some prayer. And they were on it. And I'm talking about miles and miles and miles away from me. Just one text started this whole effort of praying for MightyStream. This was when I was in Iowa dealing with my family. I hit like a brick wall at some point. And I said, I know what I can do. I can reach out to so-and-so. And they will get that whole network of them interceding for me. And they did. And I'm so grateful for that relationship. I'm grateful for everyone here, and I know that I can reach out to any one of you, especially those that leave comments, so that I know who you are. I can reach out to any one of you, or I can just say in the podcast, I need some help, y'all, right? And I know you would be there. And that is humility at work, knowing when I need help and knowing how to ask for it. I want for you to have the best day possible today. I want today to be a day where you have gratitude, you have the ability to right size yourself, without feeling embarrassed about that process. You have the ability to show humility, asking for help. And it takes humility to receive it. If I didn't add that part, asking for help is one thing, but not being tight jawed when you receive the help or trying to tell the person that's helping you how to help you. Yeah, I mean, it's important for them to know what your needs are. But if I need $2 and someone gives me 50 cents, am I going, I don't need this 50 cents. I need $2. Take this 50 cents back. No, I'm going to say, thank you so much for these 2 quarters. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you. And I'm going to wait patiently for the other $1.50 to come along, right? Sometimes we struggle with that. We want to tell people exactly how to help us instead of allowing our higher power to guide that situation. So it takes humility to actually receive the help that's being offered too. Okay, so let's be mindful of that. I want for you to have the most beautiful day on purpose. I intend to. I will be talking to you tomorrow.